Bleach Rebirth of Souls seems like it's going to be a very exciting arena fighters, but you can't have a very exciting game without having a beautiful roster. So I took the time to develop one, so let's talk about it. What's good, it's your boy Escrossup, aka your best average gamer. Now before I get into this roster, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the post notifications because it takes a long time to make these videos and I'm trying to make it to where everyone else can see this, and with you guys hitting that button, it will help support my channel and it'll help reach other people. So let's go ahead and get into this. So a little spoiler for you guys for the end of this video, there are going to be 46 characters, and the reason why I'm telling you guys this now is because for a Bleach game like this, we could easily add up to like 70 if not 80 characters from just the beginning of Bleach to the Espada arc. Now, as much as I wish for a roster to look like this, I'm almost 100% sure they're not going to go too crazy and adding in a whole bunch of characters. So what I decided to do with this roster is try to make it as fair as possible to where everyone will still like it, to where the number seems like it's just right, even though honestly I could still subtract 5 characters from this roster and it would still be fine. So without further ado, the first character that's going to be on this list is Ichigo. Now, even though it's obvious why Ichigo has made it to this list, there's still a couple of things to talk about him, like him having multiple forms, because he has had 2 Zanpakutos in the beginning of the show. One before the Soul Society and one that he uses for the rest of the show. Now, I have a feeling the one before the Soul Society is going to be either a costume option, which I pray is going to be something very major in this game, or if not, it's only going to be for the story mode, to where after Renji breaks the sword, he develops into his new Zanpakuto that he will be using for the rest of the game. Now, because of that reason, I don't think that there's going to be 2 base forms of Ichigo, but I still do believe that White Ichigo is going to be making it into this game because 1, he's already been revealed into the trailer, and 2, he's very major for the storyline. Now, with both of these Ichigos being revealed, what would Ichigo be without his main cast of friends? And first up on that line is Chad. If Chad is not into this game, I'm not playing it. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. I think he was revealed a little bit into the trailer, but if he's not playable, this is not a Bleach game. So, also, what do you guys call Chad? Y'all call him Sato or Chad? Let me know down in the comments so that I can say the specific one that you guys would prefer me to say, because I usually refer to him by Chad. And next up on the list is Uryu. Now, he is already pretty much confirmed into the game. We've already seen him be played, so there's not too much to go off of him, but even with that being said, he is a must character to be into this game. Now, next up we have Orihime. So here's the thing with Orihime, she may or may not be a playable character just because of how she is as a character, but I do believe she's going to be in the base game because I feel like we need some kind of defensive character, which I don't feel like we have too much of that in the actual Bleach cast. So with her being there, I have a feeling she could have like some kind of like crazy mechanics where she can increase her Konpaku when they bring it down. For the people that don't know what a Konpaku is in the game, it is pretty much your life stock like in Smash. The more that life stock goes down, the closer you are to death. The next character that is up is also confirmed is Rukia Kuchiki. Bro, if she wasn't in this game, it would be weird anyway, because the whole reason for us invading the Soul Society is to go and save Rukia. So she is 100% confirmed character, seen her in the trailer. Next up we have is Kisuke Urahara. Now, he did show up into the trailer for like a couple of seconds. I'm 100% sure he's going to be into the game because there are some moments where Ichigo does have to fight him for the training, and not only that, he does have some fights with some other characters like Yami and Aizen. Next up, we got our fan favorite, Yoruichi, best girl. I'm just saying, remember when I was talking about them costumes? They better pop off with at least 10 different costumes on this girl because, oh my god, bro. Do I gotta say more? Do I really have to say more? Let's move on. Let's move on. Now, for the next couple of characters that I have on this list, they might not all make it. I am calling this the lieutenant-ish characters because not all of them are lieutenants, but I still wanted to give the men and women in black some more time to shine, and hopefully some of these characters do make it into the game. But if not, a couple of them could easily be removed to try to make this roster 40 characters because that was my goal, but I still ended up at 46. So first up on this list is going to be Renji. Now, Renji is pretty much part of the main cast and he's already confirmed into the game, and it would be very weird to not see him in the game since he's had such a decent rivalry in the beginning of the Invading the Soul Society arc against Ichigo. Now, with the little bit of a rivalry with the Soul Society arc, there is also Ikkaku. Now, Ikkaku is one of those characters that could easily be removed from this list, but I did kind of want to think about it because he was the first person that Ichigo did fight when he invaded the Soul Society. So I feel like he is a very decent character that could be into this game, especially since he also does have his own Bunkai. So it's kind of hard to miss this character. As far as his partner, I will be talking about him later because I do have some honorable mentions that could have easily made this list. I was just trying to keep the numbers on the lower side. Now this next character that I put onto the list, I think it's 50-50 whether or not she makes it because she is also somewhat of a fan favorite, and that is Rangiku. Now Rangiku, I feel like she's going to be played kind of like Byakuya, just a little bit weaker because she actually does not have a Bunkai. She's only exceeded up to Shikai, but I feel like because she is super close to the main cast from the time when the Soul Society went to go help out the world of the living with Ichigo to protect the world of the living from the Arrancars. So I'm actually going to be revealing the next three characters simultaneously because I feel like they're kind of a hit or miss whether or not they're going to be making it into the game, and it is Izuru, Momo, and Shuhei. The thing is, I feel like if you have one of these characters, you also have the other two because they kind of somewhat help anchor the main storyline just because they have enough in-depth with other characters, and especially Momo. If you have Momo, then you're going to have Izuru to kind of tell off that full storyline, especially since Momo has a really big connection with one of our main captains, Hitsugaya. Now this next one is super exciting because we are going to be revealing the Goatee 13. Now look guys, not all of the 13 core guard squad is going to be making it onto this list because someone like Unahara didn't really have her time to shine until the 1,000-year Blood War, and because we are not there yet, it's going up to the Espadas. I will not be putting someone like that on the list. So with that being said, we have Byakuya as number one because he is already confirmed in the game. We see him already being played, and of course if Byakuya has made it, then Kenpachi has to make it because of his big fight with Ichigo and Noritore. Next up on the list, I would also somewhat consider him as a fan favorite, which is Toshiro Hitsugaya. So not only did he have his big fight with Holly-Bell, he was also one of the Soul Reapers that came from the Soul Society to help out in the world of the living against the Arrancars. Now this next character though is very important. I feel like it's going to be very complicated depending on how they do him in the arena fighter aspect because of his Bunkai is Sajin. Now Sajin definitely has to make it into this game because he has a very big fight with Kaname. I'm just really not 100% sure of how they're going to do Tengen Miyu and that aspect. Maybe they just might do it like Battle Blader 2 where it destroys a bit of the stage and he kind of just has his own area where he's just swinging and wailing on you. Now this next character kind of falls in the same line as Sajin because he has such a big, ridiculously Bunkai that I'm not sure how they're going to really implement it into the game, which is Mayuri. He is very important for the storyline. He is very important for a big fight with Uryu Ishida, so I don't see them missing out on this character. Next up, we have our silent assassin, Soifo. Now with her Sumeme Bachi being very interesting, touching you 3 times into instant death, I want to see how that's going to actually work with the Konpaku, and not only that, she is a hand-to-hand combat type of gal, so it would be fun to see her go against other hand-to-hand combat people just like Yoruichi. Now next up on this list, we have the man of the Shadow Games, Shinsui. Shinsui is 100% going to be making it into this game because he has such a major fight with Espada number 1, Stark. And if he's in the game, then of course Joshiro is also in this game. And the reason why he's in the game is because I feel like he's going to have an amazing mechanic where he's able to steal spiritual pressure, blasting it back at you because it's going to be able to help stop zoners in this game. So I feel like he is a must for that type of mechanic. And then on top of that, if both of these two are here, then of course the man, the boy, the number 1 captain of the Soul Society, the strongest captain of the Soul Society, Yamamoto. Now of course these last 3 characters that I just mentioned will not be having their Bunkais because obviously this is not the 1,000-year Blood War, so they will most likely be ending up into their Shikai. Of course Yamamoto just blasting away with all his fire abilities, not even using a Shikai. So that is the rest of the captains. Next up, we have the Espadas. Now kicking this off, we have Espada number 1, Stark. Now, we already know when he hits that Resurrection, he is going to be such a zoner, and I know he's going to be putting on the pressure like crazy, and he's definitely one of those Espadas that we cannot miss for the storyline. Now, next up on the list, we have one of my favorites, Espada number 2, Baragon. Now, he is definitely one of those unique characters because he has an ability to pretty much slow down your aging, making you much more slower, and then, of course, when he hits Resurrection, he is going to be able to make everything rot. So I have a feeling when he is actually playable, he's going to be one of those characters that are going to be a menace to society. Next up, we have the Water Princess, Haribel. Now, I am almost 100% sure she is also going to be a zoner in this game because she carries an AK-24 Shark on her right arm when she hits that Resurrection, and I feel like she is definitely just going to be so fun to play. So I'm hoping that they do these Espada right, because honestly, this next character that I'm about to reveal right now, I am going to be very strict on how they make this character, and that is Ukiyoda. I want to see both of his forms for the first time, bro. I want one character for Ukiyoda to go to his first resurrection and to his second one. That would be insane, and they're giving me hopes that this is a possibility for the game because they do have multiple evolutions to their transformations. Just like how Ichigo goes from Bunkai into his mask, I just want to do the same thing with Ukiyoda from his first resurrection to his second one. Now I know that's going to be something busted because it's going to give him like multiple abilities that he can do, but that would just be so cool to see in the game. He is my favorite character. That is why I would love to see such crazy things from him. But once again, I am just super biased. So let's move on to the next character. Next up on this list, we have Espada number 5, Noritore, or Noritora, however you want to pronounce his name. And he's obviously super major because he has a very big fight with Kenpachi, so it would be very weird not to have him in this game. And of course, next up on this list, we have the man himself, the guy that stole all of the budgeting for Bleach for his fight against Ichigo, Espada number 6, Grimmjow Jaggerjack. If this boy is just not in this game, obviously would be weird. I am 100% sure that if they say he is not ever going to be confirmed, death threats will be on the way. So let's go ahead and move on to the next character. Now, I did skip Espada number 7, Zamari LaRue, and Espada number 8, Zai Obito, because I feel like if they don't make it into the game, no one would be too upset whether or not they're here. But I do think Zai Obito is going to be a part of the story mode, just because I feel like he can spawn a whole bunch of ads on you, and plus it's something that they could really easily add into the story mode to keep us a little bit more interested. But moving off of that, we have Espada number 9, Arinyeto. Now, he was actually one of the characters I was debating whether or not to keep on this list, just because he also has a weird resurrection where you're just kind of stationary, so I'm not sure how they would really implement him. If he's also not on this list, I would not be too sad, but I'm gonna keep him in here just because he has a very major fight with Rukia. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't care for this next character, Yami, because I mean, he's cool. If they didn't add him, I wouldn't really care. I mean, they are going to add him just because he's decently important. He fights freaking Byakuya and Kenpachi at the same time. He has his first fight with Ichigo when the Espadas were first revealed. Like, there's a lot going on with him. Not sure how they're also going to do his resurrection, because one, he has 2, and 2, they're freakishly ginormous. So if they just kept him in his like base form, that would be cool. I see myself somewhat playing him, but I really don't like him as a character. And then last on this list for the Espadas, we have our girl Nell. Yes, please do not skip out on this character, guys. She is going to be super fun. We don't really have a lot of games where we get to actually play her, especially in her resurrection. I feel like she is just a really good staple for this game that would be very nice, and we would all love to see this character. I don't think there is not one Bleach fan that would want to miss out on this character. So she definitely has to be in this game, especially to keep us all happy. So next up, we're going to have our Visoreds. Alright, so here's the thing about these visors, right? I have every single one of the Visoreds on this list. I feel like not one of them should be missed because they have the sauce like that. Every time they show up or do something, it is just dramatic. Like the first time when Ichigo was going freaking berserk and they had to stop him, they all pulled up with the blades on the boy. And then they also had the moment when they came into the war for the Espadas and they said future mask on, mask off. Bro, they are too good. And the fact that they all can have the mechanic for just like Ichigo after they hit Bunkai or whatever, none of them will be doing Bunkai, I guess, other than Shinji, but them being able to have that mechanic to add on to the mask is something already unique to this game. So missing out on a single one of them would just be so sad, and I feel like they would be missing out on moments to be retelling in the Bleach storyline. So each and every single one of them have to make it into this game. I feel like the only one they really could skip out on is Hajin, but even then, the boy is built different. I cannot see a game without all the Visoreds in it. Like, this would just be an amazing arena fighter if they can just get every single one of the Visoreds. So now let's move on to the main villains. And of course, to start this off, it has to be the one that knows all, the man that can trick everybody with his Kyoga Soigetsu, Aizen himself. Now, the thing with Aizen is I'm not sure how they're going to do his Hoyogoku with both of his white forms that he has, the one where he's literally covered in white, and then his second one where he looks kind of like a butterfly. Now, it could easily be his awakening. I'm praying that it's not a second form. If they do, hopefully they just have a whole bunch of characters that exceeds the number of 50, because Bleach does have a lot of characters, and if they do decide to do multiple characters, that is the only way that they can do it while keeping a bunch of major players in this game. Now, next up on this list, we have Gin. Now, I feel like he's also one of those characters that is super important to stay in this game because he does have a decent fight with Ichigo, and I would like to see how his Bankai really works in this game, because it's going to be something that's like you're going to have a hard time dodging it, and at the same time he moves very fast, so he's going to be a very unique character to actually play in the game. Now, this next one is a weird one for me. I do believe that he's going to be in the game, which is Kaname. The reason why it's a weird one for me, because one, he has a Bunkai, and two, he has a transformation where this fool looks like a fly. I really don't care for this fly form. If they skipped it altogether, I'd be cool with that. If not, I feel like it's going to have to be a separate form from what he is, because I feel like him having his Bunkai would be a lot more cooler than this like weird resurrection that he has in this just weird looking form. So these last three slots, aka my last three characters for this roster, are going to be transformations from other characters away from their base form, giving them their own slot as a character. And the first one out of the three is going to be fully formed holified Ichigo. Now, I just don't see this character being someone that's missed and not playable, because he has such a big fight with Ukiyo to actually taking him down, and the fact that he's going to be someone that is super impactful into the actual arena fighter aspect, because I'm almost 100% sure that he's going to be someone super strong in the meta, that he is just going to be able to take everyone out, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to have fun playing this character. And of course, the next character following along Ichigo for the transformations is going to be Aizen's fully formed Hoyogoku. Now, I really would want this to be a playable character in a game. I don't think he's actually had a spot in a game other than probably Brave Souls, even though I never really played Brave Souls, but because that game has so many characters, I'm almost 100% sure that this form is in it. But as far as an arena fighters, this would be the first time he's actually made it into a game like this to be super playable, and I feel like there's a lot going on with this character that it would be a little sad that it didn't make it. If not, it'd be okay. He'd probably be something that's just like in the story mode, being the final boss of the game, but I would love for this to be a character to be playable. Now, of course, there was only one way to end off this roster, and it was by the way that we started with the main character himself in his final form, Mongetsu Ichigo. Now, this is my favorite form of Ichigo. I would love to see this form of him being played in arena fighters, because we don't really get to see him in many other games, especially playable in a game where we get to move around freely and be able to do PvP. So you guys let me know what you guys think about my roster. Does it seem like a perfect roster for you guys? Is there other characters that I should be adding or subtracting? You guys let me know. I did have some honorable mentions that I did want to show you guys, so I'm going to leave them on the screen right here for you guys to see. These 10 characters were, of course, a consideration of what I wanted to put onto the list, but of course, I didn't want to overly extend this roster to the point where it's just too much, because I did want to consider what the devs were thinking of what they wanted to do with the game, especially for the base, because there are going to be DLC almost 100%, because that is the era that we live in today. If you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the post notification so you guys can be notified on all of my next videos, because I am posting frequently, and plus I would enjoy your guys' support so I can make videos like this more frequently, because they are not easy to make, guys. So it's your boy Crossup. If I crossed you up once, I can do it again. Peace.